Part 124. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1234. After Jia Yan left the Stargate construction site, his eyes never left the calculator in front of him. Yes, he was obsessed. That scientist actually came up with such a calculation rule through this construction of the Stargate. Jia Yan looked at the series of formulas in front of him and almost forgot to breathe. For him, the sublime talent has almost reached the bottleneck. If there is no big breakthrough, even if it reaches the star level, it can only be able to move quickly at a depth of about 6 degrees. If you want to enter a deeper space, you need a deeper understanding of space, and that involves a deeper understanding of the space itself. He had also obtained research materials from Zibala and others before, but he had never found anything that could inspire him. But today, when he saw the calculation rules given to him by the scientist, he couldn't take his eyes away. Although this calculation rule cannot be said to directly point to the essence of space, it is pretty much the same. Through this calculation rule, Jia Yan is almost certain that he can improve his understanding of space to a higher level by peeling off cocoons and stripping silk. Then break through the 6-dimensional deep space. If I can enter the 7th level, or even deeper subspace, then my speed in the subspace, as well as the means of escaping and attacking through the subspace, will make great progress. This scientist has been a big help to me. If his strength improvement is successful, he should be rewarded properly. Jia Yan was extremely excited about this unexpected surprise. You must know that although the Stargate is beneficial to the country and the people, it actually does not have much effect on Jia Yan himself. Of course, Taya Kingdom, after the communication with the Earth became smoother and the business became larger, he was able to indirectly receive a lot of material support, but that was not very direct help. But the calculation rules of this space are different. If Jia Yan uses it properly, it may even make his strength take a big step forward again, which can be said to be extremely important. Jia Yan couldn't wait to control the clone and entered the subspace to try it out. Oh, a clone is a clone. Without the talent level of the real body, it is difficult to reach the 6th dimension, let alone the deep space beyond the 6th dimension. Not long after, Jia Yan smiled bitterly and controlled the clone to return to the superfast ship. It seems almost impossible to use a clone to enhance your strength or achieve enlightenment. After all, a clone is a clone. It does not have the talent of the real body, and even the energy is borrowed from the real body. In this case, how can we talk about enhancement? Strength. A few days have passed. Shiratori Sentu must be losing his composure, right? It's time to go out and meet them. Jia Yan thought for a while, then controlled the clone and left the subspace. This time he went straight to the border of Taya Kingdom. As he expected, Bania Zantang already had thousands of soldiers and was almost ready to take action. Although the battleship group of Shiratori Battle Hall this time is not as large as the military alliance that besieged Taya Kingdom last time, their combat effectiveness completely exceeds that of the previous alliance, not to mention the difference in the advanced level of the battleships. Just talking about the strength of the strong ones among these battleships, I don't know how much stronger they are than the coalition forces of the 32 forces. Taya Kingdom is not sincere. Jia Yan probably wants to die. He has been pestering us for nearly a month. Let's do it. In this fleet, 2 half-star level creatures gave orders calmly. And not long after they issued the order, the huge thousands of warships actually moved. A total of 5,000 warships moved, which was extremely spectacular. In the starry sky, 5,000 well-trained advanced warships began to move almost at the same time, and then flew away in a certain direction, spitting out flames. But at this moment, a broadcast message suddenly sounded among these battleships. Dear friends of the Whitebird War Hall, I am Jia Yan. I am willing to surrender, but please do not attack. This voice was extremely sincere and seemed to be at the end of its rope. Jia Yan? He said he was willing to surrender. Hey, wasn't he hiding in Tadia Kingdom and refusing to come out? Now he actually jumped out and said he was willing to surrender. A group of creatures in the Shiratori Sentu battleship were stunned after hearing this broadcast communication. Not long after that, they saw, in the starry sky not far in front of their fleet, an extremely small-looking creature, just floating in the sky, waiting for their arrival. This is Jia Yan's share. Is what he said true? He is willing to surrender. On the Shiratori Sentu battleship, the two half-star creatures looked at each other almost at the same time, and then they were both extremely curious. Jia Yan, are you really willing to surrender? Do you know what this means? A semi-stellar creature used the power of brain waves to send such a message to Jia Yan, who had come within 2,000 kilometers. A communication passed. Of course I know, but I don't want to die, so I want to use what your stellar senior wants in exchange for my chance to survive. I wonder if you are willing. Jia Yan looked a little helpless, and seemed to understand that he could not fight against Bai Niao Zhantang. Especially when he said the word thing, his expression was extremely reluctant, as if that thing was also his lifeblood. What do stellar seniors want? Could it be that he was talking about the two treasures that were taken away by him back then? After hearing this, the two half-star level commanders looked at each other in astonishment, and then became solemn. In fact, the purpose of their coming to attack Tadia Kingdom this time was not to kill Jia Yan, but to follow Kong Ping's mission and come to see those two things that are also of great benefit to the stellar level. It is not on Jia Yan. If it is their great achievement to be able to snatch it back. But they didn't expect that even without catching Jia Yan, he would jump out and confess on his own. It turns out he still keeps the things, haha. We will report back to Master Kong Ping immediately. She will definitely be happy. The two stars on the battleship were both extremely surprised. If they could capture those two things, Kong Ping would definitely reward them. Jia Yan, if you can hand over these two things, of course we will consider sparing your life, not only you, but also the Tadia Kingdom behind you. The 2.5 stars understood that Jia Yan still had some strength. If he really wanted to escape, it would definitely be difficult for his own fleet to catch him. Now Jia Yan jumped out because he wanted to take care of the factors of Tadia Kingdom. Most of it. Anyway, with those two things, Jia Yan's life and the power of the Tadia Kingdom, they, the Whitebird War Hall, would not care. Even if they were really let go, it wouldn't be a big deal. Thank you very much, but I still have two things I want. I need to tell Senior Kong Ping personally about these things. Is there a way for your Whitebird War Hall to contact her directly? Jia Yan was happy at first, then hesitated, coyly trying to contact Kong Ping. Of course, we can contact him now, old man. You have to understand that the technology in the outer star field is beyond your imagination. The two half-stars smiled slightly, and then said this to Jia Yan lightly. Come on, if you have the courage, come on board our command ship, and we will arrange for you to have a direct connection with Lord Kong Ping. Not long after, Jia Yan actually boarded the opponent's command ship. He had no intention of beheading him. In fact, if he really wanted to fight, it would not be difficult for Jia Yan to destroy the Whitebird War Hall's fleet. But he didn't do this, because now he wanted to stick to the only idea, procrastination. Yes, he just wanted to buy time. He is not afraid of the Whitebird War Hall's power in the Northern Star region, and even has the ability to completely kill them. But Jia Yan had to consider the Whitebird War Hall headquarters behind them. But this time Jia Yan's clone showed weakness and even said words of surrender because he wanted to buy a little more time. Even if it takes 2 months, he calculated the time. In another 2 months, his true body will be able to emerge from the mutation. By then, even if he is not fully star level, he will definitely be able to face most crises. Combined with various means, even if the living channel comes again, he is sure to escape calmly. Humph, are you Jia Yan? You actually made such a weak clone. It seems that your original strength is not very good. When Jia Yan entered the command ship of the Whitebird Battle Hall, two half-star strong men came to his side, one on the left and one on the right. They released terrifying brainwave power to suppress Jia Yan, thinking that he had control over it. After seeing this difference, he sneered again. Come on, we have already established a connection. We can transmit signals almost in real time over 500 light years. Who else can do this except for a large force like us? Today is an eye-opener for you. The two half-star experts didn't seem to worry about the strength of Jia Yan's clone at all. After all, in their opinion, Jia Yan's real body is the strongest, with a strength of 1.5 stars. If the real body comes here, they might be a little afraid, but how strong can a mere clone be? Jia Yan laughed twice and kept showing weakness, but in the depths of his eyes, a hint of killing intent faintly surfaced. He remembered that when his real body's condition got a little better, the first ones to kill would be these 2.5 stars. China Unicom has started, Jia Yan, tell Mr. Kong Ping yourself. The semi-star level creatures bowed their heads respectfully, and then saw a colorful peacock figure slowly appear on the huge screen in the center of their command ship. I've met Lord Kong Ping. The two half-stars of the Whitebird War Hall changed their attitude towards Jia Yan at this time, almost like chameleons, showing a flattering expression, and respectfully said goodbye to the peacock strongman who appeared on the screen. Jia Yan also deliberately pretended to be frightened and said to the peacock creature on the screen, I have seen Senior Kong Ping. Well, you are that Jia Yan's clone, right? Very good. If you return the two treasures that were robbed from me last time, then you and Taia Kingdom will no longer be defeated by my Whitebird Battle Hall. Hold accountable. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1235. Listening to the peacock-like creature speak, even though the other person was not in front of Jia Yan, he still felt the unbelievable terrifying pressure. A star-level being, a strong man who is completely transcendent of ordinary creatures. For Jia Yan, who has also reached the star level himself, he understands the horror of the star level best. However, it is precisely because he has also reached the stellar level that he can stabilize his mentality at this time. Senior Kong Ping, it is not impossible to return the things to you, but can the seniors agree to the two conditions of the juniors? They must have told you that I want two things. I heard that in the star field where the Whitebird Battle Hall is located, there is a product called If Senior can give me the amount of celestial matter and semi-green plants that are equivalent to 1 meal each, and can guarantee my safety, then I will give you the things that Senior deposited to me last time. Jia Yan's clone composed himself, and then said with a smile. Oh? You dare to threaten me? Kong Ping's expression sank slightly, and her terrifying pressure could be felt through the screen. However, Jia Yan has nothing to be afraid of. After all, this is a communication conversation. No matter how powerful the other party is, it cannot affect his clone. It's not a threat, but a negotiation. Senior, I said, if you can give me those two things and ensure the safety of the transaction, we can cooperate. If Senior wants to use your strength to suppress me, it will be very difficult. Sorry, I was able to escape from you once, and I believe that today, more than 10 years later, I will be able to escape the second time. Senior, I am sure you will not abandon those two things just because of a little hatred. Jia Yan shook his head and seemed to be extremely confident in his words. Oh, you are so confident in yourself. Humph, 1 meal each for the celestial material and the semi-green plant, right? These two things are substances with a very short retention time. The fresh ones take time, so I have to wait for 2 months. Deal then. Kong Ping looked very uncomfortable with Jia Yan. After finishing the call, she directly closed the communication screen. Okay, let's contact you again in 2 months and ask the fleet to retreat. Jia Yan saw the screen turned off, then smiled and said to the two huge half-star level creatures beside him. We will leave, of course. I hope you don't play any tricks, otherwise you will know the consequences of offending a stellar powerhouse. The two half-star creatures of the Whitebird War Hall, after seeing Jia Yan for a few words, made Kong Ping give up the attack, and even agreed to Jia Yan's very harsh conditions. They immediately snorted coldly. Then Jia Yan got off the battleship, and not long after, the thousands of battleships around him retreated back like a tide. Not long after, the borderline of Taia Kingdom, where the army was originally approaching, suddenly disappeared without a single ship. Huh, I finally got away at this time. Jia Yan's clone let out a long sigh of relief. The deals mentioned before, the matter of Chenzingzi and semi-green plants were all things that Jia Yan had investigated in advance. He had known for a long time that those two items were specialties of the star region where Shiratori Sentu was located, and both were unique items that had a short shelf life. She said it like that deliberately because she wanted Kong Ping to spend time collecting it. As a stellar powerhouse, it would be easy to collect it, but after all, it would take time. Plus the time it takes to come to the Northern Star Territory, 2 or 3 months is too normal. The 2 to 3 months are the time difference that Jia Yan needs. When the time comes, his true form will be able to leave seclusion. But it's not that the celestial matter and semi-green plants are really useless to me at all. I feel they are quite useful, and they seem to have some miraculous effects. Even if I don't use them, I can still collect them and use them in the future. Exchange with other strong men. Jia Yan thought for a while, and then felt relieved that there were no flaws in his previous acting. To be honest, even if Kong Ping suspected that he had any purpose, she would never have thought that Jia Yan wanted to take advantage of the time difference to reach the peak of his real body. She would definitely not believe that a creature that was extremely weak more than 10 years ago had turned into a star powerhouse as powerful as herself in the blink of an eye. This is just like people on Earth who would not believe that a child who was a baby 1 year ago will be as strong as an adult 1 year later. It is simply very common sense. And this is the blind spot. Maybe the Whitebird Battle Hall at this time is just monitoring the large-scale escape actions of Taia country from outside the border. As long as there is no escape action, they will not care about other things, because as long as they do not escape, no matter what struggles the little Taia kingdom makes, it will definitely not have any chance in front of the Whitebird Battle Hall and the star-level powerhouses that are about to come over. Jia Yan quickly continued, working hard to break through the real body, and then occasionally caring about the construction of the Stargate. On Earth, clones lose their mass almost very quickly. The particles and material components on his body were quickly transformed into Stargate energy, and then the communication between the Earth and the Pacific Kingdom was achieved in a faster way. Fortunately, the current clone is hiding deep underground, otherwise it would definitely scare others. The material in this body is almost completely obliterated. It can be regarded as a contribution to the Earth and the country of Bella. Jia Yan looked at the clone's body. At this time, the clone was in a magical state. Countless particle-like things flew out of his body, condensing into small balls of different colors, and these small balls turned into strings of bubble-like things, flying directly into the two-dimensional space above his head. Meter diameter luminous object. When this body is completely dead, the clones over there will become the ones sitting on both sides. No one on the Earth side can see it anyway. After Jia Yan made his decision, he closed his eyes. He completely gave up control of the clone. And in the next moment, his entire body turned into countless bubbles of various colors, which swarmed into the light above his head like crazy. As for the clone on the Earth side, Jia Yan finally completely lost all perception. Because he is completely dead. Call. In the distant Taia kingdom, Jia Yan's clone let out a long breath. This was the only clone left, and he no longer had much distraction at this time. Okay, let's completely let go of the control of this clone, and focus on controlling the real body to break through quickly. Not long after, the mental power in this clone was completely relaxed. Jia Yan returned all his mind to his real body and made an all-out breakthrough. After all, 2 months is neither long nor short. If the time is not properly controlled, it will be dangerous if Kongping arrives in person but the real body has not yet come out of seclusion. In Taia Kingdom, because Jia Yan had already said hello, even if he didn't show up, the busy work still didn't stop. Soon, time passed quickly under such intense pressure. In terms of work in Taia Kingdom, although there was a previous gamma ray attack, the pressure behind it was too great, so it recovered quickly. In the first month, they had the Stargate roughly ready. Then the first test item sent to the other side of the Stargate was something similar to a Stargate stabilizer. The transfer of this item was very fast, and after another half a month, the news that the item was successfully transferred came. The scientists of Taia Kingdom are naturally excited, and the work continues. They are confident that the main functions of the Stargate will be fully launched within half a month. And within these 2 months, Jia Yan has not appeared. Although some senior officials of the Taia Kingdom doubted whether Jia Yan had escaped, no one dared to say it in public. Some high-level officials even secretly arranged an escape route, but the Taia Kingdom just turned a blind eye. What Taia needs now is stability, and at least the Stargate work must be completed with all its strength. And when the time comes one day. 2 months. In the palace of Taia Kingdom, Kama sat on the throne, looked at the time on the special intelligence computer, and let out a long sigh. Kama, aren't you very relieved about Jia Yan? Are you afraid? A female voice came from beside her. Karma glared at the other person. The woman who spoke was a starry sky-level creature. She looked like an extremely graceful lady. No one would believe that she was the top political leader in Thai Asia at this time. Aunt Fendalai, please stop teasing me. I believe that you are right, but this time I am facing a star-level powerhouse. Don't you still allow me to worry? Kama didn't hide her true nature too much in front of the other party, she looked like a coquettish little girl. Haha, I didn't say that Her Majesty, the Great Empress, cannot worry. On the contrary, I am happy that our country has Her Majesty who is so concerned about the country and the people. Findalai smiled. But her words changed quickly. But, why do you believe in Jia Yan so much? Just like more than 10 years ago, he just caused more harm to our country. Have you forgotten that the last time he suddenly escaped, making us too Asian, how much pressure and harm has the country endured? This time it is even more exaggerated. He directly offended a star-level powerhouse and tied our Taia Kingdom to him. If he is true, if we escape, our Taia Kingdom will be destroyed. After hearing Findalai's words, Kama's expression condensed, and then she shook her head firmly. Aunt Fendalai, you haven't been in contact with him for a long time, so you don't understand. Master Jia Yan is a person who can create miracles. Maybe, even if he faces a star level this time, what can he do? For example, please ask some helper to mediate, or something else. Oh, please help? Does he look like someone who can ask for help from a star level? In front of a strong star level, there is no other way except another star level. Anyway, I don't believe it. To tell you the truth about his ability, I have arranged a special channel for your cousin. If things change, I will send her away. You have to understand my heart as a mother, okay? Okay, I understand. Naturally, no outsider can know the words between Karma and his aunt. But while the two sides were talking, a hurried report suddenly came from outside the main hall. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1236. Your Majesty the Empress, urgent information, outside our country, the Whitebird Battle Hall Army is coming again /U0026 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 novel. They said, Lord Kongping, the star-level powerhouse of the Whitebird War Hall, will come to Taya in person in a week, and he wants us all to go out to meet him, the arriving soldiers said to Comma 2 in an extremely nervous tone. People say so. Suddenly, Karma stood up. Coming. Quick, give me the communicator. I want to contact Mr. Jiayan. Above the starry sky, gleaming battleships are flying among the stars. In the sky above this interstellar space, there are more than 20 semi-star level experts, who are driving the road, and any warships that want to approach or aircraft that accidentally get in front of them will be driven away. However, no aircraft dared to express any displeasure. You must know that there are more than 20.5 star level powerful creatures, and part of their bodies are actually comparable to the size of other people's aircraft. Under such circumstances, which creature has the courage to come here to seek death? Lord Kongping, the kingdom of Taya is ahead of us. It's been a long journey for you. Suddenly, a half-star level being came to the center of the battleship group. There was actually a 30-kilometer large battleship here. When he saw this battleship, he acted extremely respectfully. It didn't look like it at all. A half-star powerhouse, but like a servant. Of course, the creature in this battleship was worthy of him. This is one of the 3-star level experts in Shiratori Sentu, and he is also a big figure who determines his future. Not to mention a servant-like attitude. Even if he was really asked to be a servant, he would definitely be extremely happy. For a half-star, especially one with average talent, to be able to climb up to a star-level expert is really like climbing up a big tree. Well, hurry up and show me the recent information about Taya Kingdom, especially about Jiayan. A faint female voice came from inside the huge battleship. She is none other than Kongping, the stellar powerhouse of the Whitebird Battle Hall who has returned to the Northern Star Territory again after a long journey. Originally, after more than 10 years, she came to a barren star field again, which was almost impossible for a star-level creature, but this time she still came. The 2 items taken away by Jiayan because of that mistake were too important to her. She originally thought that Jiayan would disappear after taking those 2 things, but she didn't expect that he would dare to come back and use those 2 things in exchange for her thing. This Jiayan is very courageous, and I can also figure out that he is not greedy. Because no matter how precious the thing he asks for is, it can almost be ignored in the face of a material that can help all stars. He doesn't care, but he is able to give up and trade with me for things he can use. With this kind of mentality, if he doesn't die in the future, he will definitely be able to achieve great things. But precisely because of this, I want to kill him. With this kind of talent and this kind of character, since we have made enemies, if we don't kill him if we have the chance this time, why should we wait hundreds of years for him to reach the star level and become a star? Can I, the Whitebird War Hall, be a formidable enemy? Kongping's eyes were full of murderous intent, and brilliance suddenly bloomed on her wings of different colors, which was an expression of her murderous intent. Although this peacock creature is not huge, it is extremely beautiful. It is still very scheming, especially when thinking about the last time, a stellar-level creature was actually escaped by a mere venerable like Jiayan, who treated her very badly. It's a huge shame. Just as old and new hatreds arose, she made a decision. If there was a chance this time, she would kill Jiayan. The last time I was seriously injured and exhausted, otherwise he would definitely not be able to escape my grasp. But also because of the last escape, he must not have any intuitive feelings about the horror of the stellar level. This time, he said carelessly, maybe I can catch him easily. Thinking of this, another smile appeared in Kong Ping's angry eyes. That's right, she thought that the last time she didn't catch Jia Yan was because her strength had not yet reached its peak, and she might not even be able to survive. In that case, being escaped by Jia Yan, although it was a shame, but Jia Yan therefore, Yan will not understand the true terror of a star. This time she had planned to show Jia Yan how terrifying a star was. Kong Ping was indeed right. The last time, Jia Yan didn't realize the horror of the stellar level at all. However, she would not have thought that Jia Yan now is not at the same level as Jia Yan more than 10 years ago. He not only experienced the horror of the stellar level, but also experienced the terror of the intermediate stars that far exceeded the initial stellar level. Even the middle-level star-level powerhouse might not need even 10 moves to kill a star-level being like Kong Ping, who was not born as a genius. Kong Ping didn't know anything about the current Jia Yan, so she just broke into Tadia Kingdom. Welcome all the seniors of the White Bird War Hall to our country of Tadia. The Queen of Tadia, will welcome you and wash away your dust. At the border of Tadia Kingdom, which had received the news a long time ago, mobilized all its personnel. Even the de facto ruler of Tadia Kingdom, came to the border to greet the powerful men of the White Bird War Hall. It's so scary. There are actually more than 20.5-star powerhouses. In our northern star field, only a few superpowers can come up with such a lineup. Look, that's Huaran, the #1 general in the White Bird War Hall. It's scary. Huaran actually looks extremely respectful to a certain place. Could it be, then, that's where the star-level powerhouse is? Any 1.5 stars here can sweep across our country of Tadia. This is where the real top power is frightened. Our country of Tadia helps Jia Yan and stands on the opposite side of the White Bird War Hall. Is it right? Seeing the White Bird Battle Hall's lineup, even though Tadia Kingdom has dispatched thousands of warships, it still makes me dizzy. Not only because the other side has also sent thousands of warships, but also because of the flying warships. There were more than 20.5-star powerhouses clearing the way in front of all the battleships. But just when they were feeling the terrifying formation of the other party, a terrifying force that was almost like heaven and earth swept fiercely into the Tadia Kingdom team. Boom! This is. Suddenly, almost instantly, each of the millions of Bella warriors in thousands of Pacific Kingdom warships felt as if a huge force that could kill them at any time swept through their bodies. And even if they are so large in number, even if they have battleships, and even the most powerful war machines recently developed by Tadia Kingdom, under this power, they still cannot have any backhand force, and they can only be massacred by Renchi. Stellar-level powerhouse. Karma's eyes were horrified as he looked at the Shiratori Sentu's largest battleship that suddenly released a terrifying pressure. It was a huge battleship that was 30 kilometers in size. The terrifying beings inside did not even have any intention of killing them. The mere sweep of the brainwave power caused them to be almost unable to breathe. Absolutely stellar. Karma's face was extremely ugly. She had never experienced the horror of a star level. But this first time she experienced it, she realized deeply that in front of a star level, even a half-star level powerhouse would not have any resistance. Power. Stellar level, a terrifying powerhouse with no solution. Where is Jia Yan? Why isn't he there? Did he escape again this time? Suddenly, the terrifying strong man who swept across the Pacific Fleet suddenly asked in a female voice. The voice was so indifferent that the creatures who heard the question felt cold almost instantly. Karma trembled. Even if she was no longer willing to face a star-level existence, she still stood up and responded helplessly. Back to Senior, Master Jia Yan is busy with something, so he asked us to come over to greet you first. Senior, please don't worry, Master Jia Yan said that he will come to see you in 2 days. Humph, Amir Jr. actually made a star-level weight like this. Forget it, you can lead the way. If he doesn't show up in 2 days, your country of Tadia will no longer have any need to exist. The female voice didn't have much emotion, but the words she spoke shocked Dekerma again. She shook her head with a wry smile, and then opened the way in front. The huge fleet at the rear, plus the 30 kilometers of huge warships, flew towards the interior of Tadia Kingdom. She also didn't want to bring this enemy who could destroy her country at will into the country, but she had no choice. If she didn't want to, Tadia Kingdom would probably be destroyed faster. Lord Jiayan, what's going on with you? Karma led the Whitebird War Hall members, and then his heart almost despaired. Because she heard about the return of the Whitebird Battle Hall a few days ago, she knew that the stellar existence mentioned by the other party had arrived in the northern star field. But when she trusted Jiayan and picked up the communicator to contact Jiayan, but he was shocked to find that Jiayan's communicator was unable to be connected again. Fendalai was furious at that time, saying that Jiayan had once again fallen into a big trap and escaped. No matter how much Kama put in good words for Jiayan, Fendalai couldn't believe Jiayan anymore. Even if she arranged her daughter to a secret passage, she could and flee directly abroad. Of course, at this time, Fendalai was still with Kama, biting the bullet and receiving the strong men of the Whitebird War Hall. Girl, now you admit it, that Jiayan you met is a scumbag. He lied to us again and again when he was in danger, and then escaped by himself. He even used us to conduct various experiments before, but now it's better, too. The kingdom of Asia will surely perish, and who knows where he will laugh at you. In the Tadia Kingdom command ship, Fendalai almost gritted her teeth when talking about Jiayan. Auntie, keep your voice down. The one behind you is a star-level expert. If she hears it, it's over. Kama quickly stopped Fendalai's words. Oh, now, it's all over anyway, even if it takes 2 days, what's the use? Our Tadia Kingdom finally returned to stability, but I didn't expect that we were still disrupted by this guy Jiayan, and even perished. You, back then, actually she's also in love with him. Tell me, are you being unkind to others? Fendalai became angrier as she spoke. Thanks to book friend 201707032241000845 for the reward of 1000 starting coins. Thank you to Yes Yang Chen, niche readers and other book friends for their rewards. Thank you. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1237. Auntie, stop talking. Karma wanted to retort, but when the words came to her lips, she really found that she couldn't say anything. After all, it is true that Jiayan cheated Tadia Kingdom once, and Jiayan still doesn't know what kind of crisis and pressure Tadia Kingdom suffered after he left in the Edisha last time. This time it is the same, and it is a more dangerous scene than the last time. If Jiayan does not appear again, this time the Tadia Kingdom is forced in front of a star-level powerhouse, it will definitely be a life and death situation. Situation. That's not right. Your Excellency told me personally a few days ago that he will not give up on us. Kama was almost depressed. She chose to believe Jiayan. Now that Jiayan did not show up, she was helpless. Fortunately, Kama used rhetoric to hold back Kongping and others. At this time, the army was moving quickly in Tadia Kingdom. Although it was fierce, there did not seem to be any harm to civilians. There were no big surprises until we arrived at Tadia Star, the capital of Tadia Kingdom. Okay, I'll just wait for you for 2 days. Just pray that Jiayan will appear within 2 days. Kongping had almost no intention of talking to Kama and the others, and even refused the proposal to take a nap on Tadia Star. She just waited for the arrival of 2 days in her huge battleship. Lord Jiayan, please show up quickly, otherwise Tadia Kingdom will be destroyed. Karma looked helplessly at the starry sky, as if he could see Jiayan in the distance, and smiled bitterly. But what she didn't know was that the Jiayan she was thinking about was not too far away at all, but was in a subspace not far from Tadia's star. At this time, Jia Yan had completely hidden his aura. In the superfast ship, both his clone and his real body were in a state of faint breath. He was completely unaware of Kama's fear and depression in the outside world, and was just carrying out his own mutation. But he didn't lie to Kama. He said he would be released after 2 days, and even if he was released after 2 days, he would not betray his teammates again this time. To be honest, if Kama and others complained to Jia Yan that he sold Tadia Kingdom last time, Jia Yan would not object. After all, this is a fact. Time passed bit by bit. Slowly, the first day passed, and the whole Tadia Kingdom fell into the fear of being directly controlled by a star level inside the country. Although the people of Shiratori Sentu did not use violence directly, they had actually begun to secretly monitor the residents of Tadia Kingdom, especially the fleets that wanted to escape to foreign countries, and almost all of them were detained. The whole country began to panic. Being targeted by a star-level powerhouse is as shocking as a terrifying earthquake to any country. On the second day, an even more frightening scene than yesterday unfolded across the small country of Tadia. That is the dozens of half-star powerhouses from the Whitebird War Hall. They slowly spread out and completely surrounded the stars of Tadia Kingdom in various places. It seemed that as soon as 2 days were up, they would receive Kong Ping's order seemed to directly launch an attack. For 2 days, Shiratori Sentu didn't have a second thought. The so-called Empress of Tadia Kingdom, today is the last day as you said. I wonder if you have contacted Jia Yan. Karma was sitting in the palace and suddenly heard a somewhat familiar female voice. She was shocked, and realized that this was the voice of the stellar peacock expert from the Whitebird Battle Hall. Sir, Master Jia Yan said he would appear, and he will definitely appear. Please be quiet, Sir. Kama smiled and forced himself to pretend to be calm. Can you please be quiet? Okay, I'll just wait. The female voice quickly disappeared. Kama, who was in the palace, was almost covered in sweat and almost fainted from fear. Stellar level, it turns out to be so terrifying. She is outside the planet, but she can actually transmit sound to my palace. So, can she hear the conversation I had with my aunt before? Alas, no matter whether she can hear it or not, in short she still gave us time. Let's see if the time is up, Master Jia Yan will not show up. Kama thought of the instigator who plunged Tadia into this crisis, and smiled helplessly. She found that she had never understood Jia Yan's thoughts. He seemed to be a good person, but also seemed to have some not so good qualities. Especially now, she felt that she didn't know whether Jia Yan would show up. Forget it, just leave it to fate. If Tadia Kingdom dies because of this time, it will only mean that I am not a kind person. Kama sighed bitterly. There's no point regretting it now. Star-level experts have all come to Tadia Kingdom. She can't get forgiveness from him just because she hates Jia Yan. Jia Yan, who was in the subspace, didn't understand Kama's helplessness at all. But he also knew that time was of the essence. In fact, according to his own estimation, given a few months, he should have been able to come out of seclusion long ago, but in fact, the time it took for his body to mutate was far longer than he imagined. Hurry up, I can feel that something is not going well in Tadia country. I didn't expect the mutation this time to actually exceed my expectations. In the huge cocoon, Jia Yan felt helpless at the speed of his body's mutation. Originally, the longer the mutation lasted, the greater the improvement in strength would be, and he should feel happy, but now he felt anxious because he was concerned about the affairs of Tadia Kingdom. After thinking about it himself, he could probably guess that the mutation this time exceeded his expectations, probably because of the strange tree that was swallowed in the body at the end. That thing gave his body a touch of antimatter properties. It was definitely a very unique item, and it was him who slowed down the mutation speed of his body. However, it seems that the closer this characteristic is to the star level, the more wonderful it becomes. It seems that it will be of greater help to my future strength improvement. Jia Yan was helpless and looking forward to it. Fortunately, after several months of all-out sprinting, his mutation speed has been greatly improved, and now it's almost time to come out of seclusion. If that doesn't work, let the clone go out to check the situation first. If you can delay it for a little longer, then even if the clone dies, there is still the possibility of remediation. As for Tadia country, there is still help for me now. If this country is destroyed, who will make technological items for me in the future? Thinking of this, Jia Yan paused for a moment while he was about to complete the last step of mutation, and then dispersed a trace of mental power to activate the clone in the superfast ship. Although this will cause a slight delay in the final step of his mutation, that delay does not have much impact. However, if he separates, it may be able to delay it for a while. Soon, a tiny figure flew out from the subspace area where the superfast ship was located. With the power of his brainwave, the subspace in front of him split open, and then he stepped out. The area hidden in the Jiayan subspace is on a star about the size of the Moon. Although this planet is not big, there are still nearly 500 million residents of the Pacific Kingdom living here. However, at this time, the entire planet is in a state of extreme panic. There are even some warrior creatures from the Whitebird War Hall, driving advanced combat tools and entering the planet, waiting for the order from the superiors to be issued. Take action against this group of civilians. Stellar-level existences, when it comes to time killing, mean time killing. Any unfavorable interstellar public opinion caused will not affect any diplomacy of the Whitebird War Hall. After all, the power of a stellar-level powerhouse is not ordinary forces can influence even other star-level beings. After hearing the reason for this massacre, they will support Kong Ping's actions. After all, daring to deceive and offend star-level creatures will defeat almost all star-level beings. Face. Just be honest with me. We are a civilized force and we don't want to take action without getting specific orders. The ordinary Whitebird War Hall warriors kept driving the crowds on the planet, and as they drove, the Bella tribe members who were very similar to humans lowered their heads. He was escorted to the open space of the planet, waiting for his final fate. "Mom, I'm afraid." A little boy, led by his parents, followed the crowd towards the front, but he was too young and still cried at this time. "Why are you crying? If you make a sound again, I will kill you, little one." The Shiratori Battle Hall warriors on the side walked forward with a sneer, raising the weapons in their hands. It seemed that if the little boy dared to make a sound, he would kill him directly. Anyway, it's almost time. It seems that Jia Yan won't show up. There's not much difference between one step earlier and one step later. Killing a few people now should be fine. Next to this warrior were the Whitebird War Hall warriors who were watching with cold eyes. None of them were prepared to stop him. Even at a higher altitude, a semi-star level creature who saw the scene was also unprepared to stop him. To deal with a mere weak civilization, they have endured so far that they have given enough face to the star-level powerhouse. If they were to deal with this matter, they would definitely kill half of the people of Tadia first. If Jia Yan didn't show up again, then kill the other half. "Ha, you still dare to cry? Then go and cry in another world." When the Whitebird Battle Hall warrior saw that the little boy from the Bella tribe dared to cry after he issued the order, his face sank with bloodshed, and he directly pulled the trigger of the gun-like weapon in his hand. Puff! The laser fired very quickly towards the completely collapsed family in front of them. When the father of the Bella family saw this scene, he had already put up his arms and protected his son and wife behind his body. But this is definitely not enough. As an ordinary Bella clan, his strength is only at the prefectural level. With the weapons of the Whitebird War Hall warriors, he cannot block his laser at all. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1238. In other words, Not only would he die under this shot, but the wife and children he was protecting would also die. And when the people around were looking at the scene in horror, a figure suddenly emerged from the air, as if teleporting, and appeared in front of the laser out of thin air. Puff! The laser beam, like a terrifying bullet, hit the chest of the creature that appeared. There was a dull sound. But the figure did not waver at all. Who are you? The soldier from the White Bird War Hall suddenly changed his expression when he saw a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Moreover, his mind was moving fast enough, and he knew that someone who could not even be killed by his own laser weapon was certainly not someone he could deal with. In shock at this time, instead of attacking, he retreated crazily. Escape? Just die. The owner of that figure saw that he actually retreated instead of attacking. At this time, his face turned cold. With a movement of his body, he rushed in front of the soldier like lightning and raised his fist. You dare! Just when he was about to strike out, the semi-star strong man from the White Bird War Hall who noticed the scene in the sky let out an earth-shattering roar, and then flew towards this place as if flying. His speed is extremely fast, and most of the creatures that have reached the semi-star level are extremely huge. He is also the same, with a huge body of at least 200 meters, and he crashes towards this place fiercely, like a giant smashed down. Mountains are shocking to people. But he was fast, and the approaching figure was even faster. Puff! The fist he raised instantly hit the face of the White Bird Battle Hall warrior. The opponent was also a star-level creature. But there was no resistance at all on this punch, and his head exploded. You bastard, you who killed me, the White Bird War Hall, die! The face of the half-star creature suddenly changed, and then its figure became even more arrogant and slammed towards the small figure. But at the moment when this half-star creature was about to attack the tiny figure faintly raised its head and looked at the approaching half-star powerhouse. Jia Yan. As a participant in this mission, the semi-star level creature who was extremely familiar with the tiny creature in front of him was shocked at this moment, and then quickly stopped his attack. The other party is the target of his mission and the person Master Kongping wants to see. If he kills him impulsively, Master Kongping might still blame him. Even if this is a clone, this is the case. After all, Lord Kongping wants to trade with the other party. Boom boom boom. The half-star powerhouse suddenly stopped attacking, and the sound of his feet scraping against his own feet as he forced himself to stop filled the air, which was extremely harsh. Fortunately, a half-star powerhouse was a half-star powerhouse. At the moment when his claws were almost about to hit the tiny creature, the attack stopped. And the claws stopped right in front of the tiny creature's eyes. That tiny creature is Jia Yan. As soon as he came out of the subspace, he felt something was wrong on the planet, so he rushed over and stopped the scene in front of him of the White Bird War Hall massacring the Bella tribe. At this time, less than a centimeter in front of his eyes was the claws of a 200-meter large semi-stellar creature in front of him, but he didn't seem to be afraid at all. Jia Yan, you finally showed up. The huge creature looked at the human clone that was more than 1.7 meters in front of it, and looked down upon him with utmost disdain. At this time, his claws were pointed directly at the opponent. He did not think that Jia Yan deliberately avoided hiding, but thought that Jia Yan's clone could not avoid his claws at all, and the calm look was just that he was playing tricks. I told you it would show up, of course it will show up, but what are your forces doing? Jia Yan looked around, especially when he saw a group of children crying, his face became even darker. Compared with the Bella tribe, whose bodies are generally larger than those of the Earthlings, the children of the Bella tribe are generally not exaggeratedly huge. At least the 5 or 6-year-old children are very similar to the children of the Earthlings. This makes Jia Yan see this group of children. The child's crying was unacceptable. What are we doing? Oh, you refuse to show up. Of course we are preparing to destroy the Tadia kingdom as we said before. But now that you have come out, we will naturally stop. Don't worry, our Whitebird battle hall keeps what we say. The huge half-star creature smiled faintly at this time, signaled to his subordinates, and flew directly into the sky without looking at whether Jia Yan would follow. Jia Yan's eyes narrowed, and then he looked at the surrounding Whitebird War Hall warriors. Actually, each one of them gave up attacking the residents of Tadia Kingdom. Instead, each one of them was extremely well educated and jumped on the flying tools one after another, heading towards the battleships in the sky. Fly away. Thank you, uncle, for your help. Just when Jia Yan was about to touch the ground and fly into the sky, the rescued little boy from the Beira tribe suddenly called out to Jia Yan. Oh, let's go home. Jia Yan smiled and nodded, then stepped on his feet and flew into the air. This seems to be Master Jia Yan's clone. Not long after he left, several members of the Bella tribe who saw Jia Yan's clone suddenly recognized him. Hey, is this Master Jia Yan? Sure enough, Master will not give up on us. Didn't some people scold him before? Now stand up and let me see who dares to scold you. Jia Yan didn't know that some people in Tadia Kingdom were already unfriendly to him because he refused to show up for a long time. Of course, even if he knew, he wouldn't care. At this time, the people from the Whitebird Battle Hall followed the flying people and flew into space together. Jia Yan, are you going to Tadia Star with us, or are you going by yourself? Just after he arrived outside the planet's atmosphere, a voice rang out from a small fleet of more than 200 battleships in the starry sky. This voice was made by the semi-star level strongman who had almost attacked Jia Yan before. At this time, he had entered the battleship, looked at Jia Yan outside the starry sky, and asked with great confidence. I'd better rush there by myself. I hope you will send the news of my return and stop other Shiratori Senta fleets who want to take action. If anything happens, we can meet and talk on Tadia Star. Jia Yan shook his head and refused the request to board the opponent's warship, but spoke calmly. Humph, we have no intention of taking these despicable races as hostages. We will stop when you come. The half-star creature snorted coldly, but he still added another sentence. Jia Yan, I don't know exactly how you offended our Lord Kongping, but don't try to escape. A star level is something you can disobey. If you are sensible, follow me to Tadia Star immediately. Maybe a whole body can still be left. Huh, is it stellar level? After Jia Yan heard the other party's words, a strange light flashed in the clone's black eyes, and then he didn't seem to be surprised by the other party's words, and flew directly towards Tadia Star without answering. Humph, you are so arrogant when you are about to die. If it is not useful to keep you, I will kill you right now. The huge half-star creature looked at Jia Yan, and even looked at the subspace next to Jia Yan, and shook his head lightly. You think your true body is hiding in the subspace, and I don't know about it? Do you think there is a subspace? Talent can control everything, and I don't know how many such creatures have died in front of my talent. He could actually see that Jia Yan's true body was hiding in the subspace. But he definitely didn't see how far Jia Yan's true form had reached at this time, otherwise he wouldn't have said the provocative words before. Just like that, Jia Yan took the lead and a group of warships followed behind, flying directly towards Tadia Star. At this time, news of the appearance of Jia Yan's clone had been received on Tadia Star. Even the semi-constant breath level expert analyzed that Jia Yan's true body was in the subspace near the clone. The news also reached Kongping. In the ears. This Jia Yan actually dared to come back. When I heard that Empress talking to others, I thought he had run away again this time. I didn't expect that he would still dare to show up. Could he really have something to rely on? But it doesn't matter. No matter how powerful a creature that is only half-star is, how can it be effective against a star? Let him see my true strength. In the huge battleship above Tadia Star, After Kong Ping heard the message of Jia Yan's clone, she shook her head lightly, and then issued an order to let all the surrounding squadrons prepare to massacre the citizens of Taia. Stop the action and even give an order to pull them all back. Anyway, even if we don't withdraw, Jia Yan will definitely make similar demands when he comes, so why not do it now? The territory of Taia Kingdom's star sector is not very large, but it is enough for a strong man to fly alone for a long time. Jia Yan's clone was flying in the starry sky. His speed was already very fast, but it was still no faster than a battleship. He deliberately flew slowly towards Taia star. He was still stalling for time. Jia Yan, can't you hurry up? With your subspace talent, you can definitely speed up at least twice as fast, the semi-star powerhouse behind urged him almost impatiently. Jia Yan looked back at the other person, then didn't answer and continued flying so slowly. What a bastard! The half-star strongman's anger almost burst out, but he still held it back. Anyway, in his opinion, Jia Yan is already a dead man. Even if he completes the deal with Master Kong Ping, he will definitely follow him and kill him. Let him be arrogant for a while now, and then Jia Yan will be worse off than life or death. Thinking of this half-star powerhouse could hardly help but smile cruelly. Jia Yan, on the other hand, didn't care so much and still flew slowly. But his speed couldn't be too slow. Finally, after flying for a full 15 hours and delaying the time for more than half a day, he and a string of warships behind him arrived at the capital of Taia Kingdom, Taia Star. Not far away. I'm here, Senior Kong Ping. When Jia Yan arrived here, he did not look at the thousands of Whitebird warships that almost surrounded Taia Star. Instead, he looked directly at a huge warship. Please remember the first domain name of this book. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1239. In the huge 30-kilometer-long battleship, a shocking force was released inside, making all the surrounding battleships dare not approach. And this terrifying momentum was released at this time, lightly covering Jia Yan's clone. The huge pressure almost caused his body to break and his flesh and blood to separate and die. Jia Yan. Suddenly, when the atmosphere was extremely solemn, a female voice sounded from inside the huge battleship. You came to see me, but you only used your clone. You thought I didn't know that your clone was hiding in the subspace. Do you want me to use some means to catch you out? At the same time as this female voice sounded, the whole world suddenly trembled. The vacuum around the huge battleship shook as if there were signs of instability. Senior, I am not disrespecting you, but my real body is busy now and I cannot see you. If Senior really wants to take action, I have no choice. However, if you scare me enough to throw what Senior wants into the if it's deep in subspace, then you can't blame me. Jia Yan shook his head lightly, seemingly unmoved by the growing pressure from the powerful. There was silence for a long time in the huge battleship. After a long time, it seemed that he had planned something, and then he spoke gloomily. You want to threaten me again? Threaten a stellar powerhouse? Don't dare. The conversation between the two sides made the onlookers around them feel frightened. Especially within the planet, the ordinary people, as well as the senior officials of the Pacific Kingdom in the Royal Hall, are extremely depressed at this time. Your Majesty the Empress, Master Jia Yan is a bit too bold. Although he has appeared, it seems that he is not here to discuss matters peacefully. If he wants to cause trouble with a star-level powerhouse, we, Taia, will still be the unlucky ones. Chinese. That's right, I wonder if you have any means to contact him and ask him to lower his attitude a little, otherwise he will drag our Taia country into the water. The minister's remarks were actually very vague. They did not explicitly say that telling Jia Yan not to harm Taia Kingdom already gave Jia Yan a lot of face. Everyone, I don't have any means to contact Mr. Jia Yan now. Let's see for now. Mr. Jia Yan is not that kind of brainless person. Maybe he can make peace with this stellar senior. Karma sat on the throne, looking at Jia Yan's clone on the remote screen, and shook his head helplessly. It was possible for her communication to contact Jia Yan, but she knew that Jia Yan would definitely not listen to her, and it seemed that Jia Yan had his own plans at this time. Now that he has appeared, what if I believe him again? Anyway, even if I don't believe it, there is nothing I can do now. Kamo looked at the screen expectantly, hoping for a miracle to happen. But even though she expected a miracle, she never imagined that a miracle was happening to Jia Yan that she could not even imagine. Outside the starry sky, the clone and Kong Ping finally ended their verbal battle. Jia Yan did not show a trace of timidity or even give in much. This made Kong Ping almost extremely uncomfortable and wanted to get angry, but there was nothing she could do about the extremely bachelor Jia Yan. Just wait, when you hand over those two things to me, I will directly kill all your true identities. A mere weakling dares to negotiate a deal with a star, and is so arrogant. He is simply seeking death. Kong Ping's eyes flashed with anger. Okay, Jia Yan, since you want to trade, let's both take out the items. I brought both of the two things you mentioned. Kong Ping continued to talk about the deal in an unhappy mood. Jia Yan rolled his eyes, but he had no immediate intention of trading. Instead, he looked at the surrounding battleships. Senior Kong Ping, you don't want me to just complete the deal in your fleet, do you? You are a star. If you want to kill me after I finish the deal, I am guaranteed to survive. How about this? How about you leave a half-star strong person to trade with me, while you and the fleet retreat 100 million kilometers away? Kong Ping, who was in the huge battleship, was led by Jia Yan again, and her peacock creature's face became extremely ugly. After a while, she choked out a word. Good. An instant later, the entire huge Shiratori Sento fleet retreated towards the rear, and even her ride, the huge battleship that was 30 kilometers long, also left towards the rear. The space in the star area where Taia Star is located is still relatively empty. The thousands of warships retreated very quickly. After half an hour, they retreated 100 million kilometers away. And outside Taia Star, there is only 1.5 star level powerhouse left. And this strong man was the fleet commander who had escorted Jia Yan to Taia Kingdom before. Jia Yan, don't try to play tricks. My talent is just enough to restrain the space talent. If you try to steal what I have and then escape from space, you will die miserably. The semi-stellar creature was a long creature that seemed to have many legs. At this time, the entire body of more than 200 meters long was coiled in the universe, and it looked extremely penetrating. Of course, Jia Yan would not be frightened by his appearance. Ha! Jia Yan laughed after listening to the other party's words. Why are you laughing? If you think that a mere 100 million kilometers is enough for you to escape, then you are totally wrong. Stellar level is not as simple as you think. The multi-legged monster glanced at Jia Yan, said viciously. I know, I really know, stellar level is not that simple. Jia Yan nodded and looked at the semi-star creature in front of him, the sparkle in his eyes slowly getting stronger and stronger. Since you know, why are you making these messy demands? There will be no good outcome if you go against a star. Don't you even know this? Seeing Jia Yan's confident expression, the multi-legged creature looked weird for no reason. At the same time, there was a vague premonition in its heart. At this time, it had no choice but to suppress its mood and yelled at Jia Yan again and again. Of course I have a purpose for making these requests, such as, to delay time. Jia Yan smiled. Delaying time, the bad feeling in the heart of the multi-legged creature became more and more powerful. After seeing Jia Yan's strange expression, he couldn't help but take a step back. Pretending to be a ghost. Jia Yan, don't try to play any tricks. Now hurry up and take out the things in your hands. Don't you want to complete the transaction? When the multi-legged creature saw Jia Yan's confused words and the gaze in his eyes, he felt a faint sense of uneasiness and immediately stepped back a lot. The deal? Well, is it completely completed or not? Haha. Jia Yan continued to smile, with a hint of malice in his smile. You actually want to not complete the deal? Don't be kidding me. If you dare, I will kill you right now. The multi-legged creature was finally angry, and Jia Yan kept using words to keep him quiet. Even though he felt that something was wrong with Jia Yan, he couldn't bear it anymore. Because behind him, there is a star-level powerhouse standing. Even though that star-level powerhouse is already 100 million kilometers away, 100 million kilometers is not enough for a star-level powerhouse. Can it be considered very far? Master Kongping, this Jia Yan is tricking us, now I have to take action to capture him first. After reporting to Kongping on the other side of the communicator, the multi-legged creature, with its entire brainwave power, crashed towards Jia Yan's direction with an earth-shattering bang. Jia Yan, do you think you are powerful just because you have space talent? Now I will show you the despair of being unable to reach heaven or earth. He suddenly flew over to where Jia Yan's clone was, and at the same time, in the center of his forehead, a line that was originally just a gap suddenly opened. Under the gap, there was an eye with a strange color. As soon as the eyeball appeared, it caused a sudden tremor in the world, and then it turned directly to the place where Jia Yan's clone was. Jia Yan suddenly felt his body tighten. You see, in the world, if there are creatures with space talents like you, there will be talents for space talents. I am the natural enemy of space talents. Let's see how you use space talents to escape now. The multi-legged creature showed its strength at this time, and its self-confidence was instantly raised. He was not even satisfied with controlling Jia Yan's clone. The power contained in the eyeball struck out fiercely, and quickly bombarded Jia Yan. In the subspace behind it, the entire superfast ship trembled. Hey, you can actually put such a huge aircraft into subspace? It seems that you are confident in your escape because of this aircraft. If you are asked to face other semi-stellar creatures, you might not be able to survive. There is really a slight possibility of escaping from Lord Kongping again, but this time with me here, just accept your fate. The power in the eyeball directly caused the superfast ship to freeze, unable to move within the subspace. Haha, let's face your true body in this aircraft. Just in case, I will also suppress the true body inside. Many half-star creatures with arrogant expressions. At this moment, he seemed to have seen the scene where he captured Jia Yan's true form and his clones, and then Master Kongping came over to commend him. He had completely forgotten the weird look in Jia Yan's clone before, because if the other party had any back UPS, they should have shown it at this time. A strong man with space talent under his control would have a strength of 10 to 70%, even if there was a backup. Can it turn the world upside down? He laughed wildly, and then the eyeball in the center of his forehead suddenly suppressed the superfast ship in the subspace, and then released a huge force, penetrating the surface of the superfast ship and entering the subspace, trying to Jia Yan's true form, completely suppressed. Then, this is, a surprised cry, with a strong hint of panic, suddenly came from his mouth. Thanks to book friend 1503271842467797 for the reward of 500 starting coins, and thanks to niche readers and book friend FlashyJune007 for the reward, thank you. Please remember the first domain name of this book. For Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1240. The expression of the multi-legged half-star creature at this time was completely confused. Just now he was so fierce that he kept saying to the Jia Yan clone in front of him that Jia Yan didn't understand words like stellar level terror. He even arrogantly came over to attack, hoping to completely suppress Jia Yan's true form and clones in one go. But when he completely penetrated his brainwave power into the space vehicle, he only saw a pair of compound eyes filled with strange brilliance. Then, the brainwave power that he had penetrated, even the brainwave power that had the talent to suppress subspace, was completely knocked out of the aircraft under the glare of those compound eyes. This is... He couldn't believe it and was stunned. The Jia Yan clone flying in front of him was still standing indifferently in the universe, and his demeanor seemed to have never changed. Even though he was suppressed by the other party's innate power, the clone's expression and any movements did not move at all. What? Don't you want to suppress it anymore? Keep going. Jia Yan's clone spoke, and his calm voice rang in the ears of this multi-legged creature. Town. That multi-legged creature seemed to be possessed by a demon. Hearing Jia Yan's voice, he lowered his head in disbelief and saw the tiny clone in front of him. Then his whole expression trembled. This time, he completely came to his senses. You, what kind of strength is your true body? His expression changed drastically, and he quickly retreated backwards. There wasn't much information he could get from that one glance, but he fully understood that he would definitely be in trouble for the owner of the compound eyes. He couldn't help but be shocked. He was already an extremely powerful half-star. Even according to previous evaluations, his strength would not be much weaker than that of other talented half-stars in the genius battlefield. Even with the weird ability to suppress space talent, he can even be equivalent to a high-level talent with a half-star level in front of a strong space talent. But this kind of self actually feels completely inferior in front of the other party's true body. Could it be that your true body is already at pseudo-star level? The multi-legged creature looked shocked and retreated hastily, its expression full of disbelief. You must know that there is a huge gap in strength between half-star level and pseudo-star level. Even pseudo-star level creatures cannot be looked upon by anyone, because most of the pseudo-star level experts are almost invisible to everyone. There is absolutely no possibility of reaching the stellar level. But the strength of the pseudo-star level is real. If he encounters it, he will definitely die. Even if his talent is suppressed, it will be useless. Pseudo-stellar level. Jia Yan's clone saw him escaping quickly to the rear, shook his head, and instead of explaining anything, he took a step forward. Puff. The space split open, and then he chased directly to the opponent. Aren't you going to make a deal with me? Why are you running so fast? Jia Yan's faint voice rang in the other person's ears. You have no sincerity in the transaction, get out of here. When the multi-legged creature saw that Jia Yan actually used the subspace talent in front of him, he quickly concentrated the power of the eyes on his forehead and sealed the surrounding world. Then one of his many feet suddenly hit Jia Yan. Space is completely tightened by the opponent's talent. The talent of this multi-legged creature is not so much the nemesis of the subspace talent as it is the stabilizer of space. Once used, the entire space will be completely solidified. Super handsome man. This kind of talent is extremely rare. At least so far, this is the first time Jia Yan has seen it. But he wasn't shocked at all. The universe is so big that it doesn't matter what kind of talent he has. Moreover, the other party's ban was of no use to Jia Yan. Because he doesn't want to enter the subspace battle at all. Seeing the multi-legged creature strike with one foot, Jia Yan's clone raised one arm and seemed to be fighting against a pillar of a building. He used his relatively small arm to strike with the opponent. Puff. In the vacuum, due to the collision between the two, an extremely shocking shockwave occurred. Huh. As they were fighting, countless voices of astonishment rang out from the fleet of ships 100 million kilometers away. This Jia Yan actually dared to fight despite being unable to resist. Countless Whitebird Battle Hall creatures were completely shocked when they saw the light of the battle. They couldn't help but look at the center of the fleet, where Kong Ping was. And while they were looking at it, the huge battleship where Kong Ping was located erupted with an astonishing anger in an instant. Jia Yan. I've given you a chance, but you are seeking death on your own. Kong Ping's uncontrollable anger finally broke out this time. You must know that for such a long time, she has been holding back her anger towards Jia Yan. She has hated this creature for a long time, who used his identity as a mere weakling to steal her important belongings in front of her more than 10 years ago. When she met Jia Yan before, she had long wanted to kill Jia Yan with one blow, but for those 2 items, she endured it. Unexpectedly, she gave Jia Yan a chance, but the other party still didn't appreciate it. At this time, the subordinates who had left the deal with him started fighting directly. Kong Ping's anger was almost roaring, sweeping across the starry sky. Before the battleships could react, the creatures in the battleships only saw a huge figure flashing with colorful brilliance. It had already flown out of the battleship and headed towards the place where the battle broke out at a strange speed. Rushed away like lightning. Lord Kong Ping is angry. Then Jia Yan is looking for death. He actually dares to play tricks in front of a star. Do you think he can escape 100 million kilometers away? Haha, maybe Master Che Lai can deal with Jia Yan without Master Kong Ping taking action at all. His strength is not weak. That's right, let's follow him quickly and see how Jia Yan died. In a group of Whitebird Battle Hall battleships, the semi-stellar experts were so excited that they drove the pilots in the battleships to follow them, wanting to see with their own eyes the terror of the star-level experts' attacks. You know, scenes like this are rare. While a group of warships were rushing towards the place of battle, Kong Ping was also flying towards there at an eerily fast speed. The battle near the Pacific Kingdom ended quickly. That's right. No matter how powerful that multi-legged creature is, it also has the talent to suppress subspace that Jia Yan has never seen before. But he is still just an ordinary half-star powerhouse. What does it mean to Jia Yan? The clone can only use power that does not exceed the sub-level, but don't forget, what level of strength his current true body has reached. Puff. When a slight sound sounded, the multi-legged creature stared blankly at the heart that had been punched through, and murmured in disbelief. The Queen is back. Your Highness is enamored. Impossible, this is just your clone. What exactly are you, your strength? The eyeballs in the center of his forehead slowly lost the breath of life, and the eyelids also drooped down, seeming to lose all their luster. Didn't you say that star-level strength is unimaginable, and it's normal to kill you easily with just one body, isn't it? When Jia Yan's faint voice sounded, his eyes suddenly froze. But in the end, it could not withstand the passage of life. The multi-legged creature got what seemed to be the correct answer and closed its eyes forever. But the moment he closed his eyes, his last voice still echoed in disbelief. Could it be a star? I, the dead, am not unjust. As this sound sounded, the life breath of the multi-legged creature completely disappeared. A star. Jia Yan seemed to be touched by these words and was silent for a while. Then he shook his head. Yes, you can rest in peace. I. Exactly the star. Bang. When he finished reciting these 2 words, in the subspace, there was an earth-shaking terrifying aura, like an astonishing devil crawling out of the abyss, and its momentum soared into the sky. What? Not far away, the star-level creature Kong Ping, who had quickly arrived 1,000 kilometers away, felt the shocking aura, and the figure of the flying peacock was stunned. She only felt that her mind was completely shocked. She couldn't believe her eyes, and even thought that she felt wrong about that aura. But the facts are before our eyes. This terrifying aura is not an illusion at all, but a real existence. Even the source of that aura appeared in the body of a little creature that he had looked down on before. Of course, the main source point was still in the subspace behind the little creature, where its real body seemed to be. Could this breath be a star? Kongping looked at the place where the terrifying aura appeared with difficulty, and then felt it deeply. Even if she couldn't believe it, she had to admit that this terrifying and shocking force was actually a star. Could it be that this Jia Yan actually became a star? No. It's impossible. His strength was just that of a venerable more than 10 years ago. How could he become a star so quickly? There must be something wrong. Yes. He is not a star at all. At best, he is a pseudo-star, not even a pseudo-star. How can it be so simple to attack a star? How can it be overcome in more than 10 years with several major hurdles? Not to mention, it turns out that he is not even half a star. How could he triple jump and become a star in more than 10 years? Kongping's peacock figure almost didn't pause at all. She showed her speed again, leaving a string of brilliance behind her, and flew towards the direction of Jia Yan. This Jia Yan is too weird. Even if he is not a star, I will eliminate any future troubles. God will take care of him. Now he is a star. That's just the earliest star level. I will use all my strength to completely eliminate this hidden danger, otherwise it will grow up, which will be terrible. Kongping's rapid arrival could also be felt by Jia Yan, who was in the direction of Tadia star. Are you here? Kongping, stellar level. His eyes flashed again, and then his clone looked faintly towards the direction Kongping was flying from. /BK Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1241. In the distance of the starry sky, a faintly shining creature fluttered its wings. The speed of this creature is too terrifying. With one beat of its wings, it is like the so close to the end of the world footwork in Chinese myths and legends on Earth. With one beat, it can close the distance of tens of thousands or even more. Although it is not a subspace travel method, it is not much different. The strength of this creature is too terrifying, and the movement of its brainwave power is almost earth-shattering. She was slowly approaching Tadia star. And on this Tadia star, at this time, the entire planet was completely shocked and surrounded by doubts. What happened just now? Jia Yan actually killed Lord Che Lai of Whitebird War Hall? Wasn't this meant to be a deal? And why was Lord Jia Yan able to kill Che Lai so easily? Grown-ups. It's over. No matter how he killed Master Che Lai, killing Che Lai simply added fuel to the fire. Now Kongping, the stellar powerhouse of Whitebird Battle Hall, is definitely coming, and not only Jia Yan. If you want to die, we must die too. The entire Tadia planet was completely shocked by the battle not far away. Not only was he shocked by the strength of Jia Yan's clone, but he was also horrified that Tadia Kingdom would bear the wrath of a stellar powerhouse next. Astral level in the northern star field, that is God, who can cause the death of countless lives with just one word. Now that this mythical star-level powerhouse is about to attack Tadia, for the people of Tadia, it is almost certain that the country will be destroyed. Not only the ordinary people, but also almost every minister in the Tadia Kingdom Palace seemed to be completely absent-minded at this time, and some of them could not even stand firmly. It's over, Tadia Kingdom is over. One minister was almost deflated, and his eyes fell to the ground without focus. Haha, Jia Yan, this Jia Yan is completely a demon from our Tadia Kingdom. He actually killed his subordinates in front of a star. Now, not only will he die, but our Tadia Kingdom will also die. Dead. The minister on the other side also had almost no strength to struggle. Facing a half-star, Tadia still has a little courage to struggle. Facing a powerful force, they may also debate and achieve reconciliation. But facing a star, facing a myth and legend, what can they do besides waiting for death? Apart from them, who was sitting on the throne, was also completely stunned. In her eyes, the Master Jia Yan in her memory was definitely not someone who did things without thinking about the consequences. That shouldn't be the case. Even if Master Jia Yan can kill Che Lai, with his character and a star level watching behind him, it is absolutely impossible to actually kill someone without any confidence, murmured. He seemed to be distracted. The Pacific Kingdom is powerful and its technology is also very good, but the strength of the entire country can only be considered inferior among the surrounding forces. Normally when they meet an ordinary messenger from Shiratori Battle Hall, they will definitely offer him sacrifices like a god. Not to mention the majestic Whitebird War Hall star-level powerhouse who is in Taiya Kingdom at this time. It's all you. Suddenly, when and a group of ministers did not react, a minister suddenly jumped up, pointed at and roared. If it weren't for you, how could our Taiya Kingdom possibly provoke this Jia Yan? That's right, Karma, today's situation in our country of Taiya is all because of you. If you have a bad relationship with any strong person, if you have a relationship with this Jia Yan, he is a devil. As if he had an outlet to vent, the ministers around him began to yell at Kama. Kama heard their words and frowned slightly, but did not refute. Because she had nothing to refute. Lord Jia Yan, what are you doing? Is it really as they said, that you appeared this time to frame our country, Taiya? It shouldn't be. Karma gave a wry smile and turned his gaze to space, to the astonishing scene of the arrival of the terrifying star-level powerhouse. Above the sky, the star-level existence that seemed to distort the distance flew towards Jia Yan's clone step by step, almost at a speed exceeding the speed of light. Jia Yan, you are fine. Before Kong Ping arrived, an extremely astonishing aura had already been transmitted to Jia Yan's cloned body. This aura was completely different from Che Lig's before. In just a moment, Jia Yan's clone felt that there was no room for movement in his body. More than 10 years ago, I never thought that you would be able to grow to this point in just a few years. Otherwise, I would definitely kill you at that time. While speaking, Kong Ping had already crossed an endless distance and came to Jia Yan's clone. When this peacock-like flying creature came to Jia Yan, its colorful feathers were like bright lights, exuding an astonishingly beautiful sight. When she came to the clone, Jia Yan was completely enveloped by an unimaginable terrifying force. If an ordinary half-star were enveloped by this force, he might even lose the ability to speak in an instant. Moreover, the opponent's power penetrated completely through the subspace behind the clone, seeming to immobilize the real body in one fell swoop. But just as the power radiated by Kong Ping seemed to be coming into contact with the superfast ship, a force that seemed not as powerful as Kong Ping, but was extremely tenacious suddenly burst out inside the superfast ship. The wave power was completely resisted. Kong Ping was surprised. Before she could continue to strengthen her strength, she saw Jia Yan's clone standing in front of Kong Ping, smiling slightly at this moment. Along with his smile, the brainwave control power that Kong Ping imposed on his clone was like spring water melting, dissipating into the invisible. Senior Kong Ping, I am very grateful to you for keeping your hand on me more than 10 years ago. I have never forgotten your teachings more than 10 years ago. Now more than 10 years have passed, and I'm here to repay you. As Jia Yan spoke, the clone was actually able to move slowly and retreat into the subspace under Kong Ping's terrifying control. Kong Ping wanted to take action, but just as she released her power, the power of the superfast ship in that space that had been resisting her suddenly exploded. Boom 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 boom. The sky and the earth completely changed color, the surrounding starry sky trembled, and the mist of air floated. It seemed that some unbelievable and terrifying creature was about to be born in the subspace. Kong Ping felt this astonishing aura and stepped back repeatedly. Then, the suspicion in her heart that she had refused to admit before was slowly getting stronger and stronger. It's actually true? No, it's impossible. How could you get to this point in just 10 years? I do not believe. The more Kong Ping couldn't believe it, the more shocking the trembling of heaven and earth became. In the subspace, it was as if there was an invisible hand, twisting the surrounding chaotic subspace and completely smoothing it out. Under the shocking aura, it seemed that even the extremely violent subspace wanted to worship him. He he. He he he. Just as Kongping continued to retreat, a very light and clear man's laughter came from the subspace. This voice is almost identical to the previous voice of Jia Yan's clone. But the power within the voice is completely different. If the previous clone had a level of strength that could make even a half-star powerhouse move, then the master of the laughing voice was so powerful that even Kongping, who was standing not far away, could horrified. Otherwise, why would she keep retreating? The world was still shaking like an earth-shaking earthquake. And this shocking aura was also completely noticed by Tadia Star not far away. Everyone, stand up and arrest Kama, the fake empress. Maybe she can be handed over to Senior Kongping. Maybe Senior Kongping can let me, Tadia country, have a way out. In the palace of Tadia Kingdom, a powerful minister suddenly jumped up and was about to attack Kama. That's right, if we catch Kama, we might be able to avoid death. Several other ministers also became violent at this moment and seemed to want to take action with all their strength. A closer look shows that they are the ministers who have been serious against Kama for more than 10 years. They found Shiyuan and seized the opportunity at this time. They must have arrested Kama and even used it. She allowed herself and her family to escape this certain death. Under the leadership of these ministers, some of the ministers in the hall seemed to have some intentions. But just when the first minister to take action rushed in front of Kama, Kama also had a flash of light in his eyes, preparing to let himself, who had reached the starry sky level, fully explode in strength. Bang! An earth-shattering momentum, like an explosion, swept across the entire Tadia star from the starry sky tens of thousands of kilometers away. Above the main hall, the first minister who took action was swept away by this force, and a mouthful of blood suddenly spurted out from his mouth. Not only him, but several ministers who were not strong around him were also spitting blood from their mouths. However, this force seemed to be very targeted. Except for the ministers who took action, the injuries of other ministers were not serious. What kind of power is this? Karma was stunned for a moment, and then she quickly looked at the live broadcast in the main hall. All the ministers had no intention of attacking Kama at this time, and looked at the screen in a blink of an eye. Of course they know that the place where such terrifying power fluctuations can erupt can only come from the place where the stellar powerhouse comes. Maybe it was Jia Yan who was killed by Senior Kongping with one blow. One by one, the ministers looked at the starry sky. But a scene that shocked them happened under the spotlight. I saw that in space, the powerful Whitebird Warhol star-level warriors were approaching fiercely, and they were actually retreating in the screen. In front of her, the originally peaceful starry sky seemed to be a mess, constantly chaotic and twisted. Puff! Suddenly, a dark front foot slowly stretched out from the twisted place. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1242. Genius remembers love mail sign go divided by Xiao. Talk rightward arrow net in 1 second to provide you with wonderful novels to read. The Milky Way, this extremely vast star field. Among all living things, the one who can be called the top powerhouse is star. A star level can control the endless starry sky area, and can even stir up an entire star field into complete chaos. Even violent incidents such as wiping out small races will not be taken care of. Because it is a star, a great and powerful man who stands at the top of countless lives. And in this northern star field, a small place in the Milky Way that is not even considered as gravel, an extremely shocking star-level powerhouse has arrived. Originally, This strong man who reached the star level meant that he could dominate the star field. When the star level behind other forces did not take action, this great star level made an easy decision. The godlike existence of life and death in all forces and kingdoms. Can. Just today. In this northern star field, it can only be regarded as a small place in Tadia Kingdom. This great star who came to the northern star territory faced a shocking existence that even she could not imagine. At this time, the space was completely chaotic, just like Kongping, who was also in a state of chaos, with a slightly shocked state of mind. In front of her eyes, a dark but extremely beautiful forefoot slowly poked out from the chaotic space. Behind the front legs is the head of a strange creature that seems familiar yet completely different. This head has a long mouth, and the compound eyes seem to be composed of countless small eyes, which reflect the surrounding starry sky, making people feel extremely mysterious. Then came the body of this creature. The body slowly flew out of the subspace, but it was almost like a battleship, and the end could not be seen at a glance. There are 6 legs on this body, including the front legs, and each one is extremely sharp, as if each one is a combat weapon. When the creature completely flew out of subspace, its whole body was finally exposed to the starry sky. The total length from head to tail is 1 kilometer. Even compared to Kongping in front of me, she is not small at all. This is a terrifying giant mosquito, a giant mosquito that has never appeared before in this universe. The 1-kilometer giant mosquito, like a hill, appears in the universe for the first time. You actually, are already. Kongping looked at the terrifying giant mosquito in front of her, her expression showing great dignity for the first time. Yes, I am already. Hung, star, level. The giant mosquito burst out into a burst of cheerful male laughter, and the world seemed to be completely shaken by his laughter. Yes, the giant mosquito is naturally the current Jia Yan. With this mutation, he jumped from being over 100 meters tall to a kilometer-long body. After all, his strength also jumped from the venerable level to the star level, and his body also jumped several levels. It is not that surprising. 1 kilometer is an exaggeration to say it is a hill. Even among the opponents that Jia Yan had fought before, there were very few who could reach the size of 1 kilometer. And with this astonishing 1 kilometer long body, his title of giant mosquito is finally fully confirmed. This endlessly huge body made his aura even more astonishing. Of course, it's not just the size of the body that's amazing. At this time, Jia Yan, even though he had just completed his mutation and flew into the normal universe with an almost new body, he could instantly feel the amazing changes in his strength. When his previous avatar was fighting for time, and when his strength was almost complete, he used his brainwave power to confront Kongping. At that time, he discovered that his brainwave power was not inferior to Kongping at all, and even exceeded it. And this is just 1 year after he has just completed his mutation and reached the stable period of stellar promotion, and is still more than half a year away from his strength. He is so powerful now. Jia Yan himself cannot even imagine how powerful he will be when the stable period is over. A star, impossible. How is it possible for you, how can you? In just a dozen years, from a mere ant like venerable to a star? No, you must not have become a star. You are using blind methods at this time. Kongping has not yet acknowledged Jia Yan's strength. After all, she herself became a star. It took decades just to pass the pass. However, Jia Yan was promoted from a venerable to a star, including the pass, in just 10 years. More than 10 years. This was completely unheard of and Kongping could not believe it. Senior Kongping, oh, no, we have the same strength now, so we shouldn't call you senior. So, Kongping, if you don't believe in my strength, you can come over and give me a try. It just so happens that our grudges more than 10 years ago have also been resolved. Just settle the bill together. Jia Yan finally finished observing his current body. To be honest, he was still a little unable to adapt to such a terrifying and powerful body, but if he wanted to adapt well, he had to wait until he understood the situation at this time. How presumptuous! Even if your strength has reached the level of a star, you are still just a star who has just been promoted to the next level. You are so brazen that you want to challenge me, who has been promoted for decades. Since you want to die, then I will make it happen for you. Kong Ping's demeanor changed, and she finally couldn't suppress her murderous intention. She fully exploded with strength, clawed at Jia Yan, and grabbed him like crazy. She had already thought about it. Even if Jia Yan was promoted to the star level, which was really unacceptable, it would still be a newly promoted star level. Then even if she fights hard, with her long-established star level, she will definitely be able to completely kill this newly promoted newcomer. Haha, how could it have been this way earlier? Kong Ping, the humiliation you brought to me more than 10 years ago will be completely settled this time. Jia Yan sneered, seeing the opponent's attack, he actually advanced instead of retreating, flying towards the opponent's giant claw. Kong Ping's figure couldn't even be compared to Jia Yan at this time. Even though she had a shocking aura, in Jia Yan's view, she couldn't even compare to Huo Chu for a fraction. Even Huo Chu could fight him for several rounds. Still afraid of Kong Ping? Puff. The attacks from both sides directly collided in one place. The fluctuations caused by the two star-level attacks on each other will certainly not be simple. The entire starry sky was completely distorted. The surrounding space, vacuum, and the dark matter that seemed to be hidden were all completely intact at this moment, vibrating directly, and then shattered. This is just a slight fluctuation caused by the two major star levels attacking each other. At the moment of this exchange of blows, Jia Yan only felt that his own strength was stronger than ever before, without any of the feeling of lack of confidence he had before being promoted. In the past, he had always been a superior opponent, and his brainwave power and frontal attack power were almost always at a disadvantage. But now, he had no power against a star-level powerhouse that he had never faced head-on. Fearful, even at the moment of fighting, I felt the strength of my own heritage and stamina. Haha, senior, is this all you do? Jia Yan laughed evilly, and then added more powerful force to his front foot. The unprecedented power surged out like crazy through his feet, making Jia Yan feel that his power was far more than that. He understood that this was just a feeling. The power hidden deep in his body could not be fully used at this time. At least he had to wait until the adaptation period was over before he could fully use it. Puff. At this moment, Kong Ping's entire body was completely crushed by Jia Yan, and she couldn't help but be extremely frightened. In this exchange of blows, she, as a star-level senior, was completely at a disadvantage. Jia Yan. You really surprised me. A newly promoted star can actually resist my strength and put me at a disadvantage. But don't be complacent. Strength is only one aspect of the strength of a star. Next, I will let you know that every star is not that simple, and I am by no means strong in terms of strength. Now, die. Kong Ping no longer held back at all. Before, her self-control was at the stellar level, and it was impossible to use all her strength to deal with Jia Yan's clone. But now that Jia Yan's true body appeared, it actually reached a stellar level that she could not imagine, and even had the power to fight head-on. And completely suppressed her. Now she no longer dared to treat Jia Yan as a weakling, but as a creature that could fight with her on an equal footing. But even if she thought highly of Jia Yan, she wouldn't feel that she couldn't kill him. Because she is a veteran star who has been a star for a while. A newly promoted star warrior definitely lacks the means and combat experience to master the star class. No matter how powerful he is, he will not be able to use it against an established star class. So the final winner must be her. Boom. Kong Ping's retreating steps suddenly stopped, and then her colorful peacock-like feathers spread out instantly. A colorful brilliance, like a rainbow, shot directly through the endless space to where Jia Yan was. This is. Just as the other party displayed such shocking means, Jia Yanfu's eyes suddenly flashed with horror. He remembered that he had used this trick when he saw Kong Ping fighting another star-level expert on the huge mysterious planet in the Chaos Star territory, and then won. He can even kill another star, so Jia Yan certainly doesn't dare to look down upon him. Avoid it. When this colorful brilliance is about to sweep over your body, Jia Yan quickly tried to dodge to his side. Want to escape? It's not that simple. When Kong Ping saw Jia Yan's body moving, she knew that he wanted to avoid it. Suddenly, an astonishing aura appeared on the colorful brilliance. At this moment, Jia Yan felt that his body was frozen for an instant. You must know that he is now a star-level powerhouse, and his strength is even stronger than Kong Ping's. The strength that can solidify him for a moment is absolutely amazing. Don't even think about controlling me. Jia Yan's body trembled, and then his brainwave power suddenly moved, and he broke free from the other party's control within a few tenths of a second. Sure enough, it is an amazing strength. If you are allowed to grow up, it will be a huge hidden danger, but it's too late. Mobile phone users, please browse and read for a better reading experience. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1243. Genius remembers love mail sign go divided by Xiao. Talk rightward arrow net in 1 second to provide you with wonderful novels to read. The moment Kong Ping saw Jia Yan, she completely broke free of the control power she was proud of, and her expression became more serious for a moment, but then she roared with joy. It turns out that even though Jia Yan broke away quickly, her colorful brilliance still managed to close to Jia Yan at the moment when she was almost able to break free from Jia Yan. The next moment, this colorful power directly bombarded Jia Yan's body. But when he was hit by this force, Jia Yan felt his body shake suddenly. I'm careless. My body hasn't fully adapted yet and I can't use my speed. Jia Yan's heart was beating wildly, and he quickly wanted to see what kind of injuries he would have on his body. However, when he looked at the area hit by the colorful light, he was stunned for a moment, and then he beamed with joy. Because in the area that was hit, a ray of blue appeared in front of the opponent's colorful divine light almost at the critical moment, blocking the light that was almost penetrating from the outside of the body as if it was blocking a real object. This is impossible. Just when Jia Yan's joy appeared, the main body also rushed to Jia Yan's side. Kong Ping, who wanted to take advantage of Jia Yan being hit by the colorful light, launched another attack. At this time, Kong Ping's expression changed drastically and she couldn't believe it at all. Her colorful brilliance method has always been the innate ability of her race. Almost no other race can resist it. Even the creatures that can escape with this method can only escape with speed. At least she has not seen it yet. After being exposed to 5 colors of light in the front, he can still resist. But at this time Jia Yan couldn't resist. What is that blue thing? Kong Ping's demeanor almost changed, but she was already close to Jia Yan, and murderous intent flashed at this time. No matter what it is, since my innate divine light has no effect on you, then let your strength speak for itself. Her expression was solemn. Although she was not a powerful creature, she did not believe that a creature that had just reached stellar level and had clearly not even passed the stable period could fight against her. The claws are coming. The body that is several hundred meters tall, in Jia Yan's current view, is no longer huge, but slightly smaller than himself. Upward arrow downward arrow www.aichu. Want to play close combat? This is the biggest mistake you can make. Jia Yan smiled slightly, and immediately faced the overwhelming star-level power locked in front of him, but his body shook, and the incredible brainwave power surged out, completely blasting away Kong Ping's locked power. Die. Just when Jia Yan opened the locking power, Kong Ping's claws containing thrilling power suddenly attacked. Jia Yan's eyes flashed with strange light. Although he was facing a star class, Jia Yan at this time no longer had the same feeling of being unable to go to heaven or earth when facing a star class before. A touch of momentum emerged in his heart, and his body now reached the terrifying size of 1 kilometer. At this time, Jia Yan faced Kong Ping without any fear at all. "You are the one who is going to die." His forefoot suddenly rose with a burst of energy, and then at the critical moment when Kong Ping's claw grabbed it, he fiercely clashed with the opponent's claw. Puff 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 puff. This blow was another massive collision of two forces. A terrifying power rumbling resounded in the universe. In the constantly turbulent vacuum, small gamma-ray bursts formed, sweeping around. And right at the center of the battle between the two sides, the two stellar powerhouses faced off head-on. The winner was decided after 5 seconds of confrontation. Boom! A figure blasted away the opponent's attack area with a powerful blow, and then pressed hard with force, trying to kill the opponent with one blow. And the powerful star that was blasted away was not Jia Yan, who was supposed to be at a disadvantage. In the scene where two shockingly strong men clashed, a shocking result emerged. The one who was blown away by the blow was actually Kong Ping. "Your melee strength actually surpasses mine? A creature that has just reached the star level and has not even surpassed its stable period actually surpasses me in melee strength." As Kong Ping flew backwards, fear appeared in her eyes for the first time. The claw she had used in the previous confrontation with Jia Yan had been broken off. A strong junior star who had stabilized the star level actually lost to a novice star level who had just completed his promotion. Regardless of the frightened Kong Ping, Jia Yan was already pressing forward with murderous intent shining in his eyes. Jia Yan was not surprised at all when he was able to win in melee combat. Before he was promoted, he was able to fight a mid-level star creature without dying. Even the strong ones in the early stage of the star cannot suppress it, so he will think that his promotion has failed. Before Kong Ping could react, Jia Yan raised one of his front legs, which he was not yet familiar with, but was still extremely violent, and stabbed away fiercely. On the front foot, there is a flash of blue. Azure Defense, even at the stellar level, is still serving Jia Yan, and is still one of his biggest trump cards. Faced with Jia Yan's aggressive thrust, Kong Ping did not panic much at this moment. Instead, he turned his body backwards, then faced Jia Yan like a peacock, with a faint light flashing in his eyes in front of his forefoot. "Do you think you can beat me if you have an advantage in close combat? How can you imagine the methods of a veteran star-level powerhouse? Field, give it to me." A loud bang and terrifying fluctuations like thunder rang in Jia Yan's ears. In an instant, his body fell farther and farther away from Kong Ping, who was right in front of him. "What? This is..." He paused for a moment, and was instantly shocked by the current situation. In front of his eyes, a strange scene unfolded. Kong Ping, who was supposed to be chased close by Jia Yan, actually seemed to be getting farther and farther away. Even if he used his strength to fly, Kong Ping still smiled and chased Jia Yan. Rock dodged his attack. Jia Yan quickly took a step back. Originally, his attack was supposed to be close to Kong Ping, but before it was reversed, close turned into far away. Now Jia Yan felt strange and did not dare to attack at will. After observing the surroundings, he suddenly thought of something. "This is your field. What field can actually pull me away?" Jia Yan was stunned because he saw that around him, an area of 100 kilometers in size seemed to be wrapped in some kind of strange power. He had experienced this feeling before, and that was the area Huo Chu used on Jia Yan when fighting against Huo Chu. However, unlike the field used by Huo Ku, what Kong Ping used at this time actually had another effect. "That's right, Jia Yan, you are a novice star. Do you really think you can defeat the veteran star? In terms of the field alone, you cannot succeed. Kongping is already 50 or 60 kilometers away from Jiayan. At this distance, no matter how powerful Jiayan is in close combat, she won't have much to worry about. Is it? Jiayan moved his body, as if he was experiencing the power of this field. Don't think you can crack my domain. How can a newcomer who has never experienced the domain crack the domain he sees for the first time? Kongping kept her distance from Jiayan while looking at her with murderous intent in her eyes. With Jiayan, she had already made her decision. Since Jiayan was so powerful in close combat, she would use her domain advantage to completely drag Jiayan to death. Each star level has many methods. She not only has close combat methods, but also extremely powerful long-range attack methods. In her field, Jiayan has no possibility of resistance. Jiayan did not pay attention to Kongping, but carefully observed the surrounding environment. This field is completely different from Huoku's, and in his opinion, it doesn't have the absolute dominance like Huoku. I can even see the surrounding starry sky clearly. It can be seen that its role is not as good as that of Huoku's field. So big. But what is the ability to fly far and near, and fly farther and farther? Is the space distorted? It doesn't look like it. And if the space is distorted, as a space genius, I can't possibly not notice the changes in the space. Jiayan looked around again, but Kongping opposite him would not give him any more time. Instead, another colorful brilliance shone from a distance. Die. This colorful brilliance contains terrifying power. If it is hit, although you may not die, you will definitely be injured. Jiayan didn't dare to be hit and quickly moved to his side. Want to hide? Delusion. Just as Jiayan was hiding, a strange color appeared on Kongping's peacock face. Then Jiayan actually felt that his body was supposed to be hiding to one side, but strangely it was flying forward instead. This is like Jiayan actually taking the initiative to fly towards the opponent's colorful brilliance. Die. How so? Jiayan was startled, but the colorful light in front of him did not give him time to think about it. Instead, it bombarded his body in an instant. Bang! Jiayan's brainwave power was used like crazy, and a faint blue power filled the air, barely able to resist the colorful brilliance outside his body. Find the book garden. It's this blue stuff again, damn it. Kongping looked shocked and angry when she saw that the blow she was sure to hit was blocked by the strange blue thing on Jiayan's body. The colorful tail on her back shines brightly again, shooting a stream of colorful brilliance in the direction of Jiayan. I see. Just as she shot out this ray of light, Jiayan, who had just resisted the previous ray of colorful light, thought of something with a look on his face as if he had woken up. I see, your field is actually like this. A strange color appeared in Jiayan's eyes, and he looked in the direction of Kongping. He seemed to have thought about the other person's field and what his true identity was. At this time, there was both joy and surprise in his expression. Huh? You actually guessed it, but it's useless even if you guessed it, you'll die. Mobile phone users, please browse and read for a better reading experience.